Every time that we sleep, there's a good chance that that individual leaves their body. And I want to talk about this. Basically, dreams is a form of technology that souls or living things use to basically experiment with the future and to experiment with possibilities that currently don't exist in our time as of yet. Every night that we sleep, every night that we dream, what happens? Basically, our souls, or basically our astral bodies or our energy bodies, move at an accelerated pace. How fast are we talking about? We're basically talking about potentially faster than light itself. Every night that you dream, you do enter a state of accelerated time, and within this state of existing, you are moving faster than anything you could possibly imagine. And the reason behind this fast accelerated time is because we use dreams as a form of technology. We use dreams as a form of studying the future. Basically, every night that we sleep, we basically go to school. We basically explore infinite possibilities. We experiment on thoughts, we experiment on ideas, we experiment on potential futures, and we basically do this every night so that we remain on track on what is best for the planet, and it also allows us to create the best version of the future on the planet. Every night that we sleep, that's basically what happens. You basically travel to infinity. You basically travel to the source of all things, and there is basically play. Your soul basically is unlimited, and your soul is basically free to basically experience anything. And we use dreams mainly as a way of experimenting and also as a way of learning things so that we can then bring that data, that information back to Earth. Okay. Now, these various places that we travel to when we dream is basically dictated by how we fall asleep. The type of information that you will bring back from the dream world, the type of information that you will be exposed to on your travel, is all determined on how you fall asleep. More specifically, on how you fall asleep that determines where you go to is the kind of thoughts that you entertain before you fall asleep. The kind of thoughts that you entertain before you fall asleep determines the location you will travel to, or the kind of information you will attract to yourself in the dream world. And the thing that you need to be aware of is that we use dreams as a form of technology to acquire information, to gain information. And the thing about it is, if we're not sleeping properly, what happens? We're basically attracting information that might or might not be of use to us. And most of the time, we basically transport ourselves to a place in the dream world that has nothing to do with us because of the kind of unnatural thoughts we have before we go to sleep. Before we go to sleep, people think about TV shows that they just finished watching. They think about the future. They think about their acquaintances. They think about all types of things. And what happens? these thoughts take you to their source. The source of the thoughts that you entertain before you sleep, that's where you go. You go to the source of those thoughts, and that's where you learn. That's where you spend the time in the dream world. And it's important that you understand this, because you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste that opportunity of gaining information to travel somewhere and to get information that might not have anything to do with you. And there is basically a safety measure that everybody uses to make sure that when we dream, we travel to a place where we can acquire information that's best for us. This guarantee, this safety measure that we all have, is what is known as our higher self, our doubles. And this version of ourselves exists in the future, and this version of ourselves always have access to the information that our bodies need at the moment. So when we sleep, we need to understand that we always travel to the source of our thoughts that we entertain before we sleep. And the best way of making sure you use the dream world to obtain the right information for you, the right information that you need, is by connecting with your higher self before you sleep, so that when you do sleep, you travel to your higher self to obtain information from him or her.